Live better and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Koehler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Koehler.
All right, so Sherman Merricks, welcome to the Fitzness Show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how excited I am to hear what you have to say. I have all the guesses in my mind, but yeah, totally pumped to hear what you're going to offer my audience.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to share some stuff as we get going. You know, you're the boss. You tell me where to go, how to do it, and I'll get it done.
Okay. So before we get there, though, I want to tell everybody how we met, because I think it's very sweet. We both live in Gainesville. Where did you come from?
Originally, I was born and raised in Winter Haven, Florida, so that's about 2 hours south. And I went to college in Lakeland, which is where I met my wife. And in college, one of my teammates, he was from up here in Gainesville, Andrew Brantley. His dad is the pastor of the Rock Church. So when I was graduating, he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm definitely not going home. There's nothing at home." And he was like, "You should come to Gainesville." I said, "All right, I'll go to Gainesville." That's literally how it happened. I was like, "I need somewhere to go." And he was like, "Come to Gainesville." And me and my new wife of a week, 2 weeks, we were like, "All right, like we're going to Gainesville," because neither one of us wanted to stay in Polk County where we're originally from. So Gainesville was it. It was sort of just like, all right, let's see what happens up in Gainesville. And that was about 20 years ago now. So
wow. Well, I'm so glad you're here. So back up, what kind of sport did you play? You said teammate.
I played basketball in college. Yes.
Nice.
Go
It's
Gators.
exciting. That's right. It's exciting to be a basketball fan right now, right?
It is.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And then you show up in town. How quickly did you open your business, Dynasty Fitness, here?
I would say I was probably here 6-7 years or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
About 6-7 years.
And do you remember how we met?
I don't. I was excited for you to tell me, because I was like, I don't remember.
It's so sweet. You reached out to me one day and just said, "Hey, my name is Sherman. I have a gym in town. I would like to give you one of our tank tops."
Oh, look at that.
It was so sweet. And I just thought, okay, that would be so nice. And it was a beautiful black burner tank top with your brand on it. And I hadn't even been to your business, but I walked around town proudly telling everyone about Dynasty Fitness because I thought you were so nice. That was really clever.
Look at that. That was bad. Now I vaguely remember that, but those were back in the days. I was trying to do anything and everything I could to grow the business. And I remember seeing you around. I was like, "Who's this lady? She's like everywhere." I was like, "All right, people like free stuff." I was like, "I'm gonna give her a free shirt." I was like, "At least she's gonna wear it one time." I know.
Okay, so I'm so glad we are friends, and I very much respect you, and I love when we run into each other in the airports now. That's a real highlight.
That is fun. I love how the Sky Lounges have become less crowded because of the things they changed. Like I'm one of those. I'm excited about that. I love that.
Yeah, the limitations. I love, my favorite restaurant is the Sky Lounge. So that's Delta Sky Lounge. If anybody's listening, the Delta Sky Lounge is my favorite restaurant, which probably speaks about my life right now, but whatever. It's a great place. Also, I see you and then Ken and Andrew from Sister Hazel. Okay, Sherman. So you have a list you've made of 10 things you want people to know.
Yes. I have 10 things. So they're in no particular order. I didn't want to go through the stress of trying to put them in a particular order. So I just said 10 things. Perfect. And we'll go from there. So
all right,
let's start off with the first one. My first one is always be kind, right? Now, I want to be clear. That does not mean you have to agree with someone to be kind to them, because for me, especially on social, I don't agree with a lot of people, but I'm always kind. Like I'm never mean, anything like that. So for me, that's a big one. Always be kind to folks. When you're out and about, you just never know what a smile may do to someone. opening the door for someone, something like that. So I always try to be kind everywhere I am.
Yeah, I
So
agree with that. Sometimes if someone like a waiter, for example, is being terrible, I transpose that young man with my son or something. I feel like, okay, this is someone's person. I'm going to give them grace for whatever they're doing wrong. And yeah, especially online. Golly, people are so courageous. They will be nasty as all get out and say things they would never say to your face
correct.
online. So yeah, I had someone the other day disagreed with my opinion and told me I had said some behavior was tacky, and they responded and said that my hair was tacky.
Oh
Like,
my
okay,
God.
okay.
Oh my God. So what's the point of that? Like, that's not kind
Right.
in any way. But like, why would you say that? Because you don't. Oh my gosh. But like you're saying, they would never in a million years, if they saw you, they would never say that to your face.
That's right.
Um, yeah, my thing is, if you know me, anything I say online, I'll say to anyone's face. So
That's right.
I try to be very careful about what I say.
I am with you on that. I believe you. Okay, so be kind. I love that. That's a great place to start. Number 2.
Okay, number 2, put God first over everything, right? Um, that's a big one for me. My faith is very, very important to me. So, I've been married for 20 years. We have 3 beautiful kids, been blessed a lot, but none of this happens without me putting God first in my life. Because if I just leave it to myself, right, I'm one of those people that I like to say, okay, if I wasn't a man of God, I would be one of those nice guys. Like, I'm a nice guy. People would like me because of my personality and stuff. Um, but if I didn't have a relationship with God, it would be sort of null and void for me. So put God first above everything, and in my business, in my personal life, in my friendships. So yeah, that's number 2 for me. Put God first above everything.
And has that always been the case? Were you raised that way, or did you figure it out along the way?
I figured out when I was about 18. So the first 18 years of my life, sort of did whatever. And I was getting ready to go to college to play ball. And now I look back and I remember this family, one of my friends, they invited me over to their house to a Bible study. And I liked this guy. We were cool. We played ball together. And I was just like, yeah, I'll go to this Bible study. And then they're talking about Jesus. And I'm like, my heart is moving. I was like, yeah, I want to know more. And that's what sort of started for me when I was 18. I remember that vividly. It was just a little house Bible study. They invited me. And then, the way it works, then I sort of said, okay, I'm going to get serious about God. And then I end up going to a Christian university. I really didn't know a ton about Christianity and all of that. It sort of said, I'm going to get serious. The next thing you know, I'm at a Christian university for 4 years. And that was definitely a life-changing experience for me.
And how does that impact all of your days?
Oh man. I mean, everything that I do, I mean, again, my faith, like everything, when I say everything, the way I treat my wife, the way I manage my finances and all of that stuff. I know a lot of people, when you talk about your faith, if they don't understand, they'll start talking about churches and pastors and stuff like that. And that's important. But for me, my faith with God is what leads me to be the man that I am today. And I sort of stand on that like, when you really get close to God, a lot of things that you see people doing, they're not really godly, right? Doesn't really
Right.
draw people to love Christ. So for me, I mean, it affects everything that I do from the time I wake up to the time that I go to bed. But I'm not perfect though. But that's the reason I need a living God in my life.
Well, I love that you and your family wear it on your sleeve without shoving it down anybody's throat. You have the perfect little combination of just living well because of it and role modeling, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, for sure. You definitely don't. You can't. Yeah, again, I didn't grow up with a lot of the church stuff, right? So, well, not a lot of it, any of it really. Like, we went to church some, but it was sort of just doing the thing. But it's funny when you say shove it down people's throat. I'm just, a lot of people, they'll get to know me, then they start asking questions. Then when I share it, a lot
Yeah.
of people are sort of just like, oh, like I sort of knew something was different, but I didn't necessarily see that because you don't talk about it hard like that. Because I don't think I don't think you can make an adult do anything that they don't want to do. It has to be their time. And so, again, I just try to let my life be that testimony. The way I live, the way I act, the way I speak, And then eventually when someone needs help, they'll reach out and I'll point them to the cross.
Yeah. That's so sweet. I love that. Great. Number 2. Okay. Number 3, Mr. Merrick.
All right. Number 3, whenever you are working towards something, this is especially for your younger listeners. I guess for the older too, but understand that it, quote unquote, it is going to be much harder than you think. That's a big one for me. People may look at my life now and they're like, oh man, he has a good life. He gets to do all this stuff and go all these places and blah, blah, blah. But if I look back, when my wife and I first started that gym and, some other things that we've done in business and life, it was much, much harder than I ever imagined, right? Much harder than I ever imagined. I look back and, like my wife and I will start joking, some of our closest friends will look back and joke and just say, I can't believe we actually stuck through that. Right? Things were hard at times, right? Like things were incredibly hard. But if you have that, that don't quit attitude, it usually pans out in the long term. I remember, starting the gym in my garage. And I was on the assumption that when I started this gym in my garage, it's crazy. People are just going to be like, yeah, like, I like this guy. I'm going to come. I'm going to pay him hundreds of dollars per month to work out. And now some people did, but definitely wasn't nearly as many as I thought would be there from the beginning. Then over time, year after year,
Right.
it just kept growing. But I look back, anything great is much harder than you expect. So when things get hard, just understand this is par for the course. Like, don't quit. This is the way it is for everyone that achieves anything great. It is going to be much harder than you ever imagined. Much harder.
Yeah, I totally agree. Everything that I have that's of value right now, I pretty much killed myself to get. I mean, it's taken years and colossal efforts and failing, so much failing in my success, but you got to keep going, right?
You have to keep going,
What has been your most difficult challenge in business? Like if you were going to name that one thing, what would it be?
I would have to look back and say that it was in the gym. Well, everyone that's listening, I know I'm no longer a gym owner. I own a marketing agency that specializes in helping gyms, but I'm no longer in the gym space. But I would say that growing the gym was very, very difficult when I look back on it. Starting my garage with 0 people and then going from a garage to a small space. I was over at Sun Country. And then we moved to that bigger space on the other side of town. When I look back at it, how did I grow a gym from 0 people to hundreds of people? Made tons of money, made tons of friends, tons of relationships. And I look back at some of the stuff like reaching out to people that I don't even know and say, hey, I have a shirt for you to wear. Like I was just doing the little things that I didn't know if they would have an ROI on them, but I just knew again, like if I'm kind to someone, if it ever comes up that I may need some advice or something, like I know this lady, she'll probably help me. I gave her a shirt. Like if I can
That's right.
I can at least ask her a question because I gave her a shirt all those years ago. But again, it's those small things like that, right? Like you remember that vividly. I gave you a shirt. Yeah. And at the time I did it, but I barely remember that because that was something kind that I did to you and that spoke to you. And I think it's funny. I was, so I have a high school age son. He plays basketball, and I was posting videos of him and someone from high school. Now I graduated high school in 2001, so 24 years ago. And a girl came under the comments. She was like, "Oh, he plays exactly like you." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then she was like, "I'll never forget when you took time out of your schedule and showed me how to fix my shot." I guess she was a basketball player. I was a basketball player. I mean, I was pretty good. I ended up going to college. So I think for her, it was just like, oh, look, this dude that's going to college, he's talking to me, he's taking time. And again, that's that whole being kind to folks, right? Like I don't remember helping her with her jump shot, but she remembers that 20 plus years later. She remembers it.
I speak to the graduating seniors at the University of Florida every semester, the College of Health and Human Performance. And I talk about all my failures and all my struggles. I basically just say, listen, guys, if you want to see my successes, go online, you can find them. I'm going to tell you where I screwed up. And I know you're going to screw up. Just don't make my same mistakes, right?
Yep.
Just do some other stupid things. But one of the things I tell them is, you just got to be nice, don't be a jerk. Nobody, even if you're the best at what you do and you know the most and you have the most certifications or degrees or whatever it is, if you're an ass, nobody will want to have you around. And so you can't only be nice, but I do think sometimes I get invited back to do work because I was really nice to everybody. And if you can make people around you feel good and be supportive, they'll want to have you return. And so that goes back to your number one, right? Be kind.
Man, I agree with you wholeheartedly, right? Like I don't think that people really understand how important it is to be nice to people. I think that a lot of people just overlook it. They don't understand how tough it is out in this world to make it on your own. And if you're mean to people, you're going to end up like regretting it one day, because like you're saying, you could have the best certifications and all of this stuff that on paper you may be the best fit, but again, we know growing companies and stuff like that, like certification and all that stuff, everyone's going to have that eventually. So it's really about personality fits and how do you make people feel, and do people like working with you? And I think that's the thing that many people overlook, because I've met some people that are great at what they do, but their attitudes and stuff are absolutely atrocious, and I don't want to work with them for one extra second. So I agree with you on that for sure.
Yeah. It's funny in the running industry. Sometimes I put it up on the pedestal because the runners are so wonderful. And there's so many professionals in the running industry that are just so dear to me too. And then there's a few raging jerks. And I just think, ugh, why? And I don't want to work with that person. There's no amount of money that makes me want to work with that person. I give a big hard pass and no thank you to working at those events, because I don't want to go anywhere and be made to feel bad, right? I just don't want to do that anymore. No thanks.
I think that's the thing, going back to what you're saying. And people are talking about you in a good way or a bad way when you're not around, right? So like you're saying, someone reaches out to you, said, Fitz, do you want to work with Sherman? I want to reach out to you first before I reach out to him. And you're like, I don't want to work with that jerk.
That's right.
Like opportunity lost, right? Or it's like, you want to work with Sherman? Absolutely, he's the best. Perfect. Now we have something and we can move past it. But so many people think that it's just about these accolades and stuff like that. But if you can't make people feel special, you're not going to get very far.
That's it. Make them feel special. I like that. Okay. Next on your list.
You have to learn how to say no. You must learn how to say no. That's something that's always been easy for me. But I figured out.
That's lucky.
Yes, I am. That's something that's always been easy for me. There's so many people that cannot say no, right? It's just tough for them, even if they're, they could be up against deadlines and stressed out. There's no way they can really do it, but they're still going to say yes because for some reason they don't want that person to hear the word no. I don't know why. And it's just absolutely crazy to me that adults struggle with saying no to people, right? Like that's a foreign concept to me. I'm just like, it's not a big deal. You're not telling them that you hate them. You're just saying no. You just said no. But yeah, that's a big one. You must learn how to say no.
Okay. So on the flip side, people are also terrified of receiving the word no. So many people don't ask for the sale or the opportunity or whatever because they're so worried someone's going to tell them no. And I just feel like, all right, well, okay, what if they do say no? What actually happens to you? And of course, nothing. Maybe you're disappointed for a little bit, but yeah, it's telling people no and receiving no. Why is that so scary?
I don't know. It's funny you bring that up because I own a marketing company. We help gym owners with their marketing, but we also help them with sales training as well. And one of the biggest things that we hear is people there like, well, again, everyone's trying to sort of get away from um, hearing the word no, but I try to tell folks there's nothing like it's not a personal attack when someone tells you no, right? Like it's
Yeah.
a lot of times. But again, I do believe me owning the gym helped me really get uber used to that in the business world because growing up, I mean, I don't think that you are born afraid to hear the word no. I think it's something that's sort of grown over time because think about it. Fitz, you have kids. Think about this. Our kids do this. Not so much they're getting older now, but when the kids are younger, hey mom, can I have ice cream? It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. No, you can't have ice cream.
Right.
12 o'clock comes, they come back around. 2 o'clock comes, they come back, and they keep coming until you tell them, hey, you better not ask me again, or you break down and say, yes, you can finally have ice cream. So I don't think it's something that we're born with. I think it's something that just happens over time. People's pride gets in the way, and then it just ends up hurting them in the long run. Like I really do, because I don't think there's anything with hearing the word no. Like actually, one of the ways that I train people, this is sort of totally off subject. I train people in their sales training is, hey, you have to hear the word no early and often so that when someone tells you it's not a big deal, right? So for me at my gym, I used to, when someone came in to a little intro and met with me, because I met with every single person that joined, I would always try to sell them my Ferrari, right? So I would try to sell them personal training plus nutrition with accountability. It's about $1,500 a month, right? Trying to sell them on that.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So now I know that 99%, 95% of the population is going to say, bro, I'm not paying you $1,500 a month for fitness. But what that allowed me to do over the course of 13 years is, like, I heard the word no from pretty much every single person that came in to meet with me, at least early in the conversation. And then once we got them down to more of the normal memberships where everyone was sort of sitting, then I started hearing the word no. So I got so used to hearing the word no because I was trying to sell them a Ferrari when they first walked in the door.
But they said yes to your Honda.
Correct. So you have to get used to hearing that for sure. You can't run from it.
In sales, on average, do you know the statistics? Like how many times do people hear no versus yes?
I don't know. And I believe it will be different across both industries. But I know something that you hear often is if you can get 100 no's, like per day, you'll end up having enough yeses that will make it worth it, right? Okay. So I think that's one of the things you have to get used to hearing the word no. You can't run from it. And again, just because someone says no today doesn't mean it's no forever, right? I've had plenty of people tell me no to something at a certain time, and then when time goes by, they end up coming back and joining my gym. So, or coming back and doing whatever I want them to do. So I think just getting comfortable with hearing that word no is a huge sort of life hack for anyone listening, for sure.
Brilliant. I also feel like all the college guys I dated back when I was in college were good at hearing no, and eventually earning their way to a yes. So that works in all areas of life, right?
All areas.
And we will be right back.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for a loved one battling cancer? The Cancer Comeback series by Fitz Koehler offers hope, inspiration, and practical guidance. With Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and The Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal. These books are a lifeline for all patients and survivors. Right now, you can order autographed copies at a special discount. Show your support and help a loved one go from sick to strong. Visit Fitzness.com today. That's Fitzness.com. Fitzness.com.
We're back. Great. What's next on your list?
All right. So this is a big one for me. Spend less money than you make. And so this sort of 2 for 1. Spend less money than you make and learn how to increase your income. Now, I put them in that order. It's sort of the 2-for-1. You must learn how to spend less money than you make. In addition to that, you have to learn how to make more money, right? This whole finance thing is definitely important to me, and we can sort of jump into that a little bit. But so many people, a lot of people be like, I don't make enough money. I don't make enough money. And there are some people that may not make enough money, right? It's tough out here for single parent households and stuff like that, because you have to take care of kids, and then you also have to make sure they're in school and all of that stuff. But there are single parent households where the single parent works multiple jobs, bookended. They work early, kids are at school, they work late while the kids are sleeping. Ben Carson's mom reminds me of that. But it is very difficult. But so many people, they have decent jobs, right? They have decent jobs, and they just spend too much money. Also, I believe a piece of that is also due to social media, right? Because you may see someone like me, be like, look at this guy. This guy's in freaking Italy 1 month. He's in Mexico the next month. You're like, well, I deserve a vacation too. Then now you're going on vacation, paying for it on a credit card. And you don't know that I freaking paid for this vacation 6 months ago, or someone else paid for this vacation for me to go do something there. Right. I think that you have to learn how to stick to a budget, right? Like, I'm one of those old school guys. People try to say, oh, no budget. It's not. If you don't learn how to control your finances, your personal finances, your finances will definitely control you without a shadow of a doubt. So you must spend less money than you make. I don't care how much you make. You better figure out how to spend less. And then right after that, learn how to make more money if you want to spend more money. It's
Absolutely.
really that simple.
Are you going to expand upon that in your next bullets? Because I want you to.
I wasn't, but let's sort of jump into it.
Okay. So let's talk about spending less money. What are your top tips for that?
Okay. So spending less money. The first thing is you have to write out your income first, right? You got to write out your income. Like, how much money are you bringing home per month, right? So let's just say that's $5,000. Just making up numbers. You're going to write $5,000. And then now you're going to put in all of your expenses, right? And then you're going to just do basic math, addition, subtraction, see how much you have left over at the end of the month. Now, this is where it gets hard for adults and kids. And once you start having families, because again, the draw of stuff will just, it'll kill you, right? Because again, someone making $5,000 per month cannot do the same thing that someone who makes $50,000 per month can do. But the way it's set up, no one really talks about it, right? Most people that make a lot of money don't live like people think, right? They don't drive around in Ferraris. And yes, there are some people that do that, but most people, they don't live like that. But they have the freedom to do cool things that you may see on social media, and then you'll be like, man, why don't we do that? Well, because they make more money in a month than you make a year. That's why they can do that trip and you can't. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. So for me, you have to be on a budget. You have to figure out what's coming in, what's going out. You have to figure out a way to make that work. And it doesn't always feel great, right? Like, like my wife and I was in debt from some, like, I had some school debt, not some school debt. I had a lot of school debt. So we end up getting serious about that. And my wife and I, we paid off, man, I should know the number. It's been so long now. I want to say we paid off like $207,000 in student debt. No, $203,000. We paid it off in 27 months. Then we end up going on the Dave Ramsey show, all of that stuff right there. Great time. Love Dave Ramsey. Good. People would say, oh, well, you must have done something or this and that. Or like, I remember when we went on Fox News, right? I didn't know how mean. This is what I figured out. People could be really mean. People were going nuts because I said you have to get on a budget to pay off your debt. And people start doing math saying, oh, 203,000 divided by 27. So that's X amount per month. Most people don't even make that per month. So how can we pay it off? That's a stupid thing to say. And then people are like, well, Yeah, it's easy to do when your parents help you. Well, first of all, I was raised by a single mom. No one helped
Right.
me. No one helped me
Mm-hmm.
do anything. People were like, oh, well, he must come from money, and he must have. Like people were literally saying, I must have stole some money. People
Oh,
wrote,
wow.
people wrote like 100. I'm not exaggerating, Fitz. People wrote like 100 negative Google reviews under my business.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like it was
And
crazy.
all because you said you recommended
Correct.
folks get on a budget, pay
Get
off
on a
debt.
budget. But I said it on Fox News, so half of the
Mm-hmm.
country's gonna hate it, other half's gonna love it. So it was the half that hated it that were saying all this crazy stuff, and
Right. The
yeah,
audacity.
the audacity of a black man to say you must pay off your debt. And I was just like, God, like I was raised by a single mom, like no one, but obviously I didn't get into the comments. I just love to see some of the comments. People are just with these wild assumptions. I was just like, guys, I wish
Yeah.
you knew. Like, but again, looking back at that, and like I was petty a couple times, I must say. Like I went back and said, well, it was actually less than 27 months because I sat on about 50 grand for about 4 months just because I didn't want to do it. So it was actually less than that. Um, but like for me, it was just eye-opening to see how that definitely inspired a lot of people. Like I look back at it, my wife and I, when we decided to pay off that debt, my wife, thank God, she didn't have any school debt. It was all me. We thought it was going to take us about 6 years to pay it off. Based on my income, we thought it was going to take
Right.
about 6 years. It was going to take about 6 years because my wife, she take care of me, the kids, the house. So I have the easy part. She has the hard part. So we thought that it was going to take us about 5.5 years. Then we ended up doing it in 2 years. That just happened because of the goodness of God and the blessing of our businesses. They just, once we got serious about it, Fitz, it just started to steamroll. Every single month, I started to make a little more money. I started to put a little more away. Here's the big fallacy. Everyone says, man, that's great. If I made that much money, I can do it. I always say that's a lie because there's a lot of people that would have been in my shoes starting off, of course, but as they started to make more money, they would have been spending more money.
That's
My
right.
wife and I, we said, okay, this is what we need to make our expenses work. Everything else that comes in goes to the debt. And that's pretty much what we did. And towards the end, we were paying like 20 grand a month on the debt. Just knocked it out. It was like sort of the perfect storm. There was no interest from the government. It was all great. But yes, living on less than you make is a cheat code for life. Start early.
Yeah, it's so important too. I mean, I'm very fortunate that even as a kid, if I owed anybody anything, it gave me a stomachache. I would carry just a real weight in my tummy. I might have been about 20 when I borrowed $400 from my mom for a business project, and then I couldn't handle it. I had this $400 burden on my chest, and it was agony.
Yep.
And so I paid her back as quickly as possible. And I thought, well, I'm never taking out another loan. And then of course I got the house and stuff, but and student loan debt. This is what I used to do. It's many years ago when I was still personal training. I had a client who I just earmarked her money to my student loan. And so instead of letting her write checks to me, I had her write checks directly to the student loan company. And I would just put those checks in the mail and send them off. And she'd said one day, she goes, "You're so disciplined." I said, "I'm not disciplined. In fact," and the reality is I am extremely disciplined. When I want something, I do it. And I'm a hunter like you. When I'm on a mission, I make it happen. But I just figured if that money never passes through my bank account, I don't even have the luxury of spending it. It's just going to go straight there.
I agree. Like we did so much when we paid off that debt. Like I started another bank account where I would put our living expenses, whatever it was, just making up numbers, say it was $5,000 a month. So
Right.
I would transfer the $5,000 to that account. That's what we lived off of. And everything else would stay in this account that I would pay all the debt off. So like you're saying, I never really saw that money. I didn't start spending extra because
Yep.
I made more. It was just like I had to be focused on this. But man, Fitz, I didn't know. Like I have some friends that are, they do well. They don't have any debt, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know how good it was gonna feel, because now I look back, that was a great time. It was actually fun doing it. But now being on the other side for 3 or 4 years, that's definitely one of the best decisions I could have made for my family and I, by far.
And then your house is also paid off, correct?
No, my house is
No.
not.
Okay.
No, my house is not. No, my house is not.
Okay.
So I hope Dave don't listen to this. I'm a huge Dave Ramsey fan.
Me too.
I don't want any debt. However, my house, I'll pay off before I retire, whenever that is. But I don't put a ton of extra money on my house. You do the 15-year blah blah blah. But I'm probably gonna build another house soon. I know I just built one, but nevertheless, no, my house is not paid off. Like, I'll pay it off like the day I retire. Be like, I'm gonna make this last payment now, just to be done with it. But yeah, I don't pay my homes off early.
Okay. Yeah, mine I paid off. I paid it off I was doubling down, I'm paying way more than I needed to. And I think I paid it off pretty quickly after I finished chemo. And I remember for some reason, you can't just do that automatic payment online. You have to go into the bank and get some sort of fancy check. And I was in there and it was just so quiet. And finally I told the cashier lady, I said, I'm paying off my house right now. And she goes, oh, good for you. And I was like, I felt like confetti should have fell from the sky, and
Correct.
a marching band could have paraded by, but it was awesome. I was proud of myself. And actually, as soon as that happened, I immediately started paying on my daughter's college apartment. So whatever. She's about to graduate. And then I will start enjoying
Correct. Then you get a raise.
Chunk of money every month.
Correct.
But yeah, it does feel good to know that almost all of my expenses are voluntary. Electricity is voluntary. Netflix is voluntary. Cell phone's voluntary. If I wanted to not spend money, then I could just cut things off, right? So,
good.
Yeah, debt free. It takes away the tummy ache. So I encourage everybody to follow your lead for sure.
I agree. Get rid of it. For some reason, the house just doesn't excite me to pay off. I don't know why, because I don't want to owe anyone a dime. But for me, like the house, I'm just like, like it's fine, right? Like I'd rather have, all this money over here just sitting, growing. Like if I want to, I can pay it off, but like there's no rush.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because I'm not like that with anything else, right? Like any of my friends could tell me, like if we go somewhere, how people be like, oh well, I'll just pay for it, and then you just Venmo me. Like I'm Venmoing before we even.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to owe anyone anything, not a dime, except the mortgage company. I guess I'm okay with that. That's for some reason. I don't know why.
I also think it's important not to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, my Jeep's a 2008. Our pickup truck's a 99 F-150, and I don't have any value on going out and buying a 2025 something fancy. I mean, for other people, maybe the car is the most important thing, but I'm happy to have a fun, comfortable car that I pay off with cash and doesn't burden me like that too. So I think just, not trying to spend money to impress other people.
Well,
stay within your means, stay under your means.
Like I really believe that that's one of the things. So before last year, I had my wife had a van that we hauled the kids around. And then I had a 2002 Toyota Camry, had 275,000 miles on it. And I drove that thing forever. People would be like, how, like, you live in this nice house, but you drive this crappy car. Just like, well, the house is important to me. The car isn't. Just don't care. But so many people were just surprised by that because, again, they want you to live this level of expectation that I just wasn't willing to live up to. But then it's funny though. I talk to my wife about this often. So when my car died, I mean, I hadn't bought a car really ever in my adult life because I got that car when I was like 18, 19. I'm 41 now. So when it died a couple of years ago, I was just like, well, I want to buy something. So I go out, I buy a Audi Q7, brand new, and then now I'm like, oh man, like I didn't know cars could do all this stuff. So then then my wife needs a car, so I'm like, I kind of like this car. Should buy another. So then we bought another 2025 Yukon thing. But we pay for the car with cash, so everyone calm down. But like, it's funny how people just expect you to drive certain cars, do certain things because of their expectations. And I would tell people, don't let the Joneses keep you broke, because there are some people that I thought really had their finances together when I was coming up. And when I say coming up, I'm I'm talking to my adult life around. I was watch them, like, man, one day I hope we can do this stuff. And now they come and ask me for help with their finances. I'm just like, I thought you had it all together.
Mm-hmm.
It was all a facade. Like it was all just to look a certain way.
Spend less than you make. That was awesome. Awesome conversation, Sherman. Okay, what else? What's next?
6 is have fun with work, right? Have fun with work. This is sort of self-explanatory. It does not mean that you are going to love every single job that you do, especially when you're starting off, right? I'm not one of those entrepreneurs that believe everyone needs to be an entrepreneur, right? Like, I don't believe that. I think entrepreneurship is hard. You have to be wired a certain way. Your spouse has to be wired a certain way to sort of support you at times and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But you need to have fun with your work. You need to figure out something that you're passionate about while also making money.
Right.
But there are some people I know, they get up and go to work every day and they are miserable. And I just can't, that's not a good way to be. You spend too much time at work. We spend too much time working. So you need to find something that you enjoy and stick with it, right? Stick with something. So find some work that you really can have fun with.
I wholeheartedly agree. I'm so blessed to have a career that just fulfills that cup, right? It's money, but it also just makes my heart happy. I've chosen wisely. And I hope, folks, if you're in a career that you don't love, you start moving towards it. You don't have to just quit today, but just start leaning into something that you will love.
Correct. So, yeah, I think that's a big one. So have fun with the work. I'm going to give you another one. I'm going to give you number 7. Travel the world. Being able to travel the world does take finances, right? So before you can travel the world, you must get control of your spending and your finances and stuff like that. But I think traveling the world opens your eyes to just things that you never even could think of. Like me, I grew up single mom in the project, sort of that type of story right there. So growing up, we didn't travel much. We went to Disney and stuff a few times, but we didn't even leave the state too much. We had some family in Alabama and Georgia, so we went there. The first time I was on a plane when I was 18, college, we were playing in a tournament in Minnesota. So we flew. That was the first time I was on a plane. So, but traveling the world just opens your eyes to how big the world is and how there's so much more going on besides what you think or what you may be going through. There's a huge world out there. I will say, my friends call me a diva. I don't know why. I really don't like that. I'm a man, Fitz. I'm a man. but my friends sort of call me a diva because I know, I feel like I've worked really hard. I've been blessed to get where I am. So I like to travel a certain way when I travel. I like first class tickets. I like 5-star resorts, but that is not the way you have to travel to see the world. Like you can travel very cheaply. You need a passport. You have to do some planning so that when you get there, but traveling the world just really expands your horizon. My son, I think he's going to be on his first mission trip this year. He's 16. So that's going to be great for him because right now he just, regardless of what he says, he thinks this is the world, like my parents, our home, our community. But he's going to go on a mission trip and he's going to realize, I know it's going to change his life because he's going to see, wow, there's a lot going on that I didn't even know about. And I think that we see that every time we travel somewhere, whether it's to Italy, to Rome, to China, you see, and there's an entire world out here of people dealing with stuff. So travel the world.
I wholeheartedly agree. I had the same story. I grew up in Florida. We almost never left the state. It was Disney or Busch Gardens or SeaWorld, and that was vacation. But first time I left the country was when I worked on a cruise ship. So that's a really affordable way to do it. If you can get somebody to pay you to leave the country. I was a fitness director on board a cruise ship that sailed through Europe, and that was awesome. But I also, it's neat to be exposed to other people, other places, other cultures, other behaviors. And every single time I left the country, and I've been to some incredible places, it enhanced my patriotism for America. I go over there and I think, what a blessing to be born here. I mean, just the greatest gift of all. And even in first world places you believe are free, they don't have the same culture we do. And for all of my international listeners, I love you too. I hope you're happy where you are. And I do enjoy travel and all the learning and culture that comes with other places. But I'm a ground kisser when I fly back to the States.
Man, listen, I agree with you. I tell my kids, like my kids know already, like that little blue passport, that thing is worth its weight in gold when you're traveling, because that blue passport gets you pretty much anywhere, and it can save your life. So
that's it. It's your ticket home.
Correct. And there's not a lot of countries that have, we'll travel, especially with the kids, and they're like, well, why do people have to go through all those lines and have to do all this? Because they don't have this blue passport. This blue passport gets you everywhere rather easily. You have one of those red ones or maroon ones or green ones. You have to jump through some hoops to move to different countries. We don't have to do that. So yeah, travel the world. I love it.
Yeah. Where's the favorite place you've been outside the States?
Oh man. So honestly, one of the favorite, I can't say that, one of the favorite places that we've gone to was the Amalfi Coast in Italy.
Okay.
It was like so my wife, she loves Italy. She's always like, I want to go to Italy. I want to go to Italy. I was just like, well, I'll go to Italy and make you happy. I didn't have low expectations, but I really didn't have any expectations. I was just like, oh, it's fine. Like, yeah, let's do it. But when we got there, it was absolutely amazing, from the food, the people, the scenery. So this year we celebrate 20 years of marriage this year. So we're actually going to take 2 trips for our 20th anniversary. We're going to go. Thank you. We're going to go to Mexico for 5 days because we love Mexico. We love the service in Mexico. So we're going to go to a resort in Mexico, and then we're going to go to Lake Como, Italy for another 10 days or so. So if Lake Como is similar to the Amalfi Coast, I'm thinking it's good. Like everyone that's been to Lake Como, they tell me like it's heaven sent, but the Amalfi Coast was absolutely breathtaking. It was amazing, except getting to the Amalfi Coast, because I get seasick, car sick. You have to go around all these curbs. Oh, that's horrible. But other than that, I would say Amalfi Coast probably the favorite.
Okay. Worth the effort. Next up.
So 8 and 9, get married early, right? I believe you should get married early.
How early?
I got married at 22. I think that's early. Okay. Not like 18. Like,
all right.
So ladies could probably be married at 18, but dudes, we're just too dumb at 18. Like, yeah, it's just, that's kind of early. Like 22, give us a little more time to sort of figure some things out and grow a little bit. So I would say, get married early. I would say, early 20s is good. But when you get married, understand that you're going to be there for your spouse and kids forever. For me, growing up with a single mom, I always knew that I wanted to be married early and I wanted to be married forever. So for me, when I met my wife, like we met at 18, we dated all 4 years of college, and then we got married. Yes, then we got married right after college. We probably would have got married in college, but neither one of us could really afford to. And her parents definitely wouldn't want her to be distracted. My mom would have probably been like, all right. But we dated when we were 18, got married at 22 as soon as we graduated. I graduated in May. We got married in August. So we got married as soon as we graduated college, when we could finally do it. But one of the things is I told my wife, listen, I really don't know how to do this husband thing. I'll do my best. I'll get help. But like, we're not going to get a divorce, right? Like, we're not getting divorced. Like, bad things may happen. I know you're a flawed person. I'm a flawed, but like, we're going to be there for each other forever through the good times and the bad. And I think that going into marriage, understanding that will make your life better, outside of horrible circumstances, right? There are some circumstances that, okay. And I mean like physically abused and stuff like that. Like, sure. I get that. But man, now being 41, my wife's 42. I like to joke she's a cougar, she's preying on me. But like, looking back now, man, I've been with my wife my entire adult life since we were 18. And I absolutely love it, right? I love it. Like, I look forward to the day when we turn 50 and I can be like, I've been with this woman for 32 years married for 28 and all of that stuff right there. So for me, like 8 and 9 are get married early and just know that you're going to be there forever for your spouse and your kids.
That's quality stuff, Sherman. Very impressive.
Yeah. It's funny because we'll travel places. We like to travel. I like to travel. My wife likes to travel. So we'll get to places and people, they're always blown away because I always joke around. Black don't crack. So they're always blown away when we'll be like, oh, we've been married 15 years. They're like, how you been married 15 years? Like, how old are you guys? And now we get to that point where like we've been married 20 years and we go somewhere and they're like, what? How, like, when did you guys get married? When you're 15? Like, no. So yeah, no, like I just love that. Like I love being married. So yeah.
Yeah. And you guys take extraordinary care of yourselves. You're super fit and she's a bombshell. It's yeah, you definitely look fantastic for your ages.
Yeah. So you have to take care of yourself. You only get one body. It's definitely like, it was funny though, because one of the things is like, speaking of, taking care of yourself, I took for granted owning the gym in regards to my fitness. Well, when you own a gym, you're always at the gym, so you're naturally going to work out. Now, I haven't had a gym for a couple of years now, but I have a garage gym now. It takes effort to stay in great shape, right? Like I always tell my wife, I want to be one of those dudes. I'm like 60 and with a six pack and strong looking. I was like, I'm going to do what it takes. I was like, I know the older you get, the harder it is. I get it. But like, I just like that. But again, so many people, they don't understand that you can chase this money and this career and stuff like that. But if on the back end, your health is bad, and I know you'll speak to this, nothing else matters if your health is bad. It doesn't matter about homes, cars, money, family. Like family still matters, but not as much, because if you're fighting for your life, you really can't focus on your family as much because you gotta like I don't want to die. Like I want to figure this out. And I believe that's one of the things that gets so overlooked in today's society is taking care of yourself. Like everyone's just like hustle, chase, do this, achieve this. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, obviously a diagnosis like the one I had, it was no fun, or ALS or getting hit by a car. I mean, at that moment, all you want is to be healthy. That's it. When someone says you're sick or you're really hurt or you'll never walk again, all I want is health. You don't care about the accolades or the income or this. You just want to be healthy. And so freaking do it now, right? Don't wait. If you prioritize health up front, if you are diagnosed with an illness or you're struck by a bus, then the recovery is going to be so much more quick and efficient. I mean, just health really matters every day, starting today, right?
Yeah, every day. I always, like, I don't know where I heard this from. One of my smarter friends probably said it. They were like, you either make time for your health now, or you're going to make time to be sick later.
Yep.
And I remember when I first heard it, I was just like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So like, I mean, even for me, like obviously I have a garage gym, so it's at my house. But like, it's one of the things I enjoy doing, right? Like I don't do it begrudgingly. Like I enjoy working out. So for me, I'll usually, so like my fitness routine, I'll give you guys a little preview into it. So I basically wake up, like when I wake up every day, I usually go for about an hour walk, right? Put on a heavy vest. I go for a walk. I call myself stepdaddy to all the. I call myself stepdaddy. So I get up, I go for a walk for about an hour, and then later in the day, whenever it is, sometimes in the morning, sometimes a little bit later, then I'll do my weightlifting / CrossFit workout for about an hour, and that's what I do pretty much every single day. Now, again, I own my company, so I have to I plan my schedule around that. But if you have to work a 9 to 5. Well, you have to wake up a little bit earlier to get your fitness in. Because I tell everyone, it's better to get it done in the morning, because trying to do it in the afternoon, man, you're going to be derailed 3 or 4 days a week. Because it almost happens to me. I just know, like, I have to get it done. But, like, if you try to say, oh, I'm going to work out after work. Well, after work, little Timmy's going to be sick or need to be picked up early. Then now you can't work out. And, one day turns into 2 days, turns into 2 weeks, turns into 2 months, turns into 2 years. And next thing you know, you're looking in the mirror, not liking what you see, feeling horrible on top of that. It's a bad thing all the way around. So, yes, like I take my fitness very seriously.
I love it. And then what's your 10th thing, Mr. Sherman?
All right. The final one is speak your mind, even if it's going to make some people upset, right? I think you should be true to yourself because, I mean, you owe that to yourself. Again, you have to be kind when you speak your mind and stuff like that. I speak my mind, like we know if you follow me on social, but I basically just started talking about things, politics in particular. It wasn't on purpose. I was just like, I want to talk about what I want to talk about on social media. So I started talking about politics. Then I realized that, oh crap, a lot of people don't like what I have to say. I didn't know it was going to be like that. But I was just like, but there are a lot of people that do like it. So I was like, well, I'm just going to keep saying what I say. And, you know, I look back over the course of years, like I've had people that at one point would wholeheartedly disagree with anything that I said. And now, fast forward to today, they agree wholeheartedly with everything that I say. But again, I think that comes back to, in the beginning, I was always kind to people, even if you disagree with me. Like we could still go to lunch and have a good time. We may not agree on certain topics, but like I don't think you're a horrible person. So number 10 is speak your mind, even if you know it's going to make some people upset, especially your family. Family needs to know how you feel. Definitely.
I agree. You know what? I've been accused of being a bull in a china shop because I speak my mind, but I never curse. I never shout. I never call people names. Sometimes people just don't want to hear an opinion that's different than their own. And for that, I can't help them. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't understand why it's such a big deal for two people to talk and then they disagree and then someone gets upset, right? Like we can talk about this and you'd be like, no, it fits. Like, let's just agree to disagree. I definitely don't believe what you believe right now. Obviously, you don't think what I have to say is right either. So let's just agree to disagree. Let's move past it. And then that's what you do. Like that's what I feel like that's what adults do. But man, there's so many people, like you're saying, especially with the social media thing, man, people will say and type stuff that they wouldn't say to you in a million years. But those keyboard warriors, they'll do it. They'll type it. Like they'll type it and then so
cocky sons of bitches from their basement, right?
So like what I do though, like everyone knows, we can disagree wholeheartedly, but the first time someone gets out of line, I just basically block them. That's a quick block. Like you can be on my page. You can disagree with everything that I say every single day. As long as you do it the right way, you will have free access to what I do. But the first time you start calling names and all this stuff, block, right? Like my life is too good to deal with that type of negativity. So I just block it immediately.
That's right. I also feel like it's my page. Why would I let someone be horrible on my page? No, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I love a good civil debate. My undergraduate degree is political science. I just love it. I love connecting. And I adore actually having a conversation with people who vehemently disagree. I find I take so much pleasure in that. Not everybody does. But when people start getting, cranky or hateful, in my mind, I just think that person probably also loves dogs. So even the politicians that I can't stand their stances on things, I think, well, if we were at the dog park, we would probably get along. We probably have all these other things in common. And okay, I'm not going to put that person into monster category. I'm just going to vote them out of office if they're in my district, right? But yeah, I think almost everybody loves dogs or cats or something. There's some common ground. And it's just really not worth making enemies over disagreements.
Correct. I agree. Everyone likes dogs. We got us a puppy. She's not a puppy anymore. She just celebrated her first birthday. I didn't know I would be a dog person. I didn't I would listen to all the dog listeners. I was one of those guys. I'd be like, why does this person freaking treats this dog like a freaking human? Now I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm that guy. I'm just like, all right, I get it. We have a 1-year-old full-blooded Rottweiler puppy. She weighs
Oh
about
boy.
90 pounds. But listen though, it started from day one, Fitz. I was on a wait list for this dog for too long. I paid way too much money for this dog. I flew to Texas to pick the dog up.
Okay.
It's just a whole thing, and I was just like, all right, I guess I'm a dog dad now, and like now we love this dog like it's our other child. Like we
Yep.
love this dog.
It's the best. It's the best. We're the best. We love the dogs. We love the dogs. All right. So, your list was stellar. And I want you to know that the reason I invited you was because I love your social media posts and I love the wisdom you share that, your degree isn't in finance and you are not a senator or whatever, but you are very wise and very measured. And I really think you're smart and beneficial. If people hear what you have to say, they'll be better people. And so I'm sure if I asked you to give me a list of 20 things, you could have given me 20 awesome tidbits, golden nuggets. Really, that's the thing is sharing the golden nuggets. Can people tune into the Fitzness Show and learn something to go make their life better instantly today? And you did that. So thank you for your list for starters.
Thanks for having me. I'll make sure I gotta look at the comments, see what people say about me. Someone says something to me and I'm gonna respond to it. So the listeners,
That's
you
right.
listen. You're listening. You better not be in the comments talking trash because I'm coming.
That's right. You tell them their hair is tacky. I hear that's a good maneuver.
Well, I don't have
now
any hair, so good.
But you pick on their hair. That's what you got to do. Or
Gotcha.
just everybody
Okay.
pick on my hair. I don't care. I'm so effing happy to have hair. Okay. So, two things we end the show with. Number one is a communication tip. And so I find sometimes people have a hard time connecting with others or getting their point across. So what would you advise they do to improve their communication skills?
Look for ways to talk with more people face to face. No text messaging, no emails. This is something I'm big on my kids about. Like my kid, like especially my son, like I'll be like, hey, I want you to reach out to Fitz. He like, can I just text her? Absolutely not. Now that you asked me that, I want you to set up a time to go meet Miss Fitz and meet with her for 10 minutes face to face. So find ways to meet with people face to face. It's easy to send a text. So to improve your communication, find ways. Yes, it is slightly inconvenient. It's not really inconvenient because that's how you So find ways to meet with people face to face. That's a big one.
I love that. I FaceTime randoms all the time and people think, what? Why are you FaceTiming me? It's like, I just like your face.
Correct.
Also, I think when you have something negative, a negative interaction, it should always be done in as personal a fashion. If not in person, FaceTime call, right?
Correct. I agree. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. And then the final job of yours is to give folks a song suggestion and what kind of workout they should do while listening to your song suggestion.
Oh my gosh. All right, so you should do a CrossFit workout. I love CrossFit. I don't own a CrossFit gym anymore, but I love a good CrossFit workout. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta find a good coach, or just look at it online and try to figure it out. But you gotta find a good CrossFit workout. And the song I would say, "In Your Way" by Alex Jean.
And why do you like that song so much?
It just hits when I'm working out. I like it. Like the beat is good. Like I like it. Like I just like Alex Jean, one of my favorite artists. So "In Your Way" by Alex Jean. The beat is great, sort of up tempo. You get through the CrossFit workout while listening to Alex Jean.
I love it. Okay, and where can folks find you if they want to follow you and hear more of what you have to say?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Sherman Merricks. I'm the only one. Cute black guy. It won't be hard to find. And then, so now you can find me on Twitter. Now, here's the thing. I'm just really getting on Twitter. I haven't really figured out the Twitter world yet. I figured out there's a whole, I'm actually
X.
X. I'm about to say it's no longer Twitter. It's X. But you can find me on X as well. Let me see. What's my handle on X? Oh, it's Sherm_5. Sherm_5 on X. So those are the two. Oh, and I'm on Instagram too, Sherman Merricks. Same thing. But really, if you really want to be involved, Facebook is where I do all of my work.
Sherman Merricks, and that's 2 R's in
Yes.
Merricks.
Sherman, Sherman, last name Merricks, Merricks.
Well, you're a doll. I adore you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
Yeah. All right. Last assignment. You got to look at the camera and with gusto, tell everyone listening and watching to get to work.
Everyone, get to work.
Hi, this is Rudy Novotny, the voice of America's Marathons. We all love how much running has benefited every aspect of our lives, so much so that most of us only wish we'd started sooner. Wouldn't it be wonderful to gift the opportunity to children of today? Well, you can. The Morning Mile is a before-school walking and running program that gives children a chance to start each day in an active way while enjoying fun, music, and friends. That's every child, every day. It's also supported by a wonderful system of rewards, which keeps students highly motivated and frequently congratulated. Created by our favorite fitness expert, Fitz Koehler, Morning Milers across the country have run over 2 million miles and are having greater success with academics, behavior, and sports because of it. The Morning Mile is free to the child, free to the school, and is inexpensively funded by businesses or generous individuals. Help more kids get moving in the morning by visiting morningmile.com. Champion the program at your favorite school or find out more about sponsorship opportunities. That's morningmile.com. Long may you run.